What's up everybody, and welcome back to the channel. This will be episode 2 of my Night Walker series. The last episode we were able to push all the way to Akechi, and since I do plan on making this character a Legion champion, we'll be pushing it a little faster than my Mihao. Here we're just going through my daily routine for this character, doing my daily bosses. I was able to get the golden clover belt I needed from Pink Bean to finish out my boss set. Still don't think at this point we were strong enough to do Hell mode Gollux, so we will continue with the hard mode for now. Next up here was Chaos Vellum. I had about 8 tokens from the first week when I fought him, so needed at least 7 to make my real CRA weapon. I completely forgot after the fight to even think about it and check, and just went ahead with the rest of my bosses. I went to check how many tokens I had from Princess Snow the first week, and that is when I realized I had enough for my Fafnir weapon, but we'll fix that later on. So Princess Snow was the next weekly boss that was relevant this week, since we needed 8 tokens to try and get my secondary, and if I have the same luck that my Mihao had, we'll probably have to wait a week. And yeah, same luck, only getting 4 tokens this week. I don't think she drops less than 4, so we should be good after the next reset. After all my bosses were done, I decided it was time to go ahead and work on my Fafnir weapon. I normally force epic with my green cubes, but I was kind of over it and kind of tired at this point. It was pretty late, so I decided to just go ahead and use some bright cubes. Luckily, it wasn't too bad of a decision, as it tiered up to epic in 4 cubes, and unique at the 11th, and then eventually legendary with the 20th cube, which to me was pretty lucky. With the remaining 30 cubes I had left, I decided to go ahead and use them on my CRA hat to see if I could push it to legendary, since I'll eventually need a cooldown hat. And after 20 cubes, I was already accepting my fate and figured it would just stay unique. However, it did tier up to legendary with 4 cubes left. And with 4 cubes left, I decided why not? Let's just throw them on my pants, and by some grace of God, they went legendary on the very last cube. After that, I went ahead and bought some glowing cubes to reroll their stats, which threw me off again since my hat rolled 18% on the first cube and my pants got to 18 in 6. Next up was my Fafnir weapon, which we just wanted a few useful lines. It eventually hit boss damage, IAD, and all stat, which isn't great, but to me is a settle point for now, as I did not want to use too many cubes or gamble too much, since I wanted to try and save as much meso as I could, since 5/10/15 was coming up. The next step was to go ahead and flame the weapon. The leftover flames I had from my mules did not give me anything I was happy keeping, so I bought a few more flames from the event store and eventually just settled with 28 attack. I threw another flame on the belt that I had, and the first flame gave me 56 luck, which was definitely good enough for now. We went ahead and gave the belt a 3% luck potential, as well as a pair of Decidus earrings, which had a nicer flame than the one I was wearing already. And with 250 million meso left, I decided to go ahead and Star Force the gear up to 12 stars, which luckily took less than 90 mil to finish. And after the 3 new items, we are now up to 2.1 million combat power. But when I was reviewing my gear, I realized my Tyrant Cape did not have a luck potential, so I went ahead and fixed that real quick. I still had 17 Black Flames left over from the event shop, so I decided to check which gear I could try and reroll to see if we could get better stats. The flames I was getting on my pants and hat were only slightly better, but I mean, gains are gains, right? So at this point, these were all the upgrades I was going to be making this week. I am going to kind of time skip this weekend, as I did go out of town for like 4 or 5 days, and 5, 10, 15 did happen over this weekend. So we'll skip ahead here and we'll be back after the event. All right, so after 5, 10, and 15, I'll go ahead and just kind of walk through what I did. I didn't record it, as recording on my laptop is not great, but I spent about 4 bill on my Night Walker. I got my Silver Blossom Ring to 10 stars. I got my CRA armor and weapon to 17 star. I did buy the level 150 kind of antique set from the Magnus and Rudibus shops, and went ahead and got those to 17 star as well. And all the other accessories I had either went to 17 stars or whatever their max was underneath that. And here we're just putting potentials on the shoes, gloves, and shoulders that I bought. We're just going to settle at 3%, and if it somehow rolls to epic, we'll keep it at 6%, since they're going to be just hammered into the Absolab gear anyways. After that, I went ahead and did my daily bosses, and since we did make some upgrades, I decided it was time to go ahead and try the hell mode of Golux out. I was able to clear it on my Mihail after his upgrades, but it did take 10 minutes, and I just wanted to see how it felt on my Night Walker. And yeah, definitely a much faster run, only taking about 5 minutes. However, I'm probably still going to just stick with the hard mode for now, since I am working on multiple characters at the moment. Afterwards, I went ahead and did my arcane dailies, and honestly did not realize I was so close to leveling. So the level explosion kind of shocked me a little bit here. I did use the leftover EXP vouchers I had to level up to 233, and was almost able to reach 234 with the 7 Monster Park runs. And here we are a couple days later, after just doing some dailies and Monster Park, a little bit of sitting in the sauna. It eventually hit 235, which let me unlock my last arcane symbol. And now that that's all set, time to do some weekly bossing. And my goal here was to try and fit all of the 12 bosses up to Akechi within one green pot and one small wealth pot. So let's kind of fast forward and see how that goes. All right, so the first 11 bosses only took about 24 and a half or so minutes. Um, Last up was Princess No, which is definitely a longer boss, especially with all of the like pre-stages that she has, and the fact that I don't have the item to make my weapon a soul weapon and attach a pink bean soul to it, which would help make stage 2 a lot faster. So I wasn't sure if I'd be able to finish within the 5 minutes I had left, but I decided to go ahead and try and see where we'd get. I really wish that this part of the boss didn't take as long as it did. I hate just sitting here waiting for this guy to eventually come down and be able to be hit, especially with like 3 minutes left on my potion. I was just like, come on, man, hurry up. So right before the boss room, with a bit over 2 minutes left on my potion, I saw that I had 45 seconds left on my burst cooldown, which was not great, but for some reason I decided to go ahead and just wait it out. And I also forgot to switch my bats back to bossing mode. I'm so good at this game, I swear. But luckily, we were able to get the clear with less than a minute left on the potion. And yeah, afterwards, while cleaning out my inventory after the bosses, I realized I didn't even use the balanced furies I finally got from my main. They were just sitting in storage. Such a griefer. But anyway, look at them. I think they're the prettiest throwing stars, which is great because they are also the strongest throwing stars, but all comes down to preference, right? And here we are exchanging our fragments for the Princess Snow secondary, but we're just gonna let that sit for now since we have a Shining Star Force coming up. Okay, so the next piece that we're going to be working on is the Noble Ifia ring. We do have the 10 accessories now, so it's time to go ahead and finish the quest line so that we can turn them in. Learning from my Miao's mistakes, I made sure to go ahead and kill the easy mode of Von Leon to make sure we didn't have to wait another day. I didn't realize that the questline also gives you an accessory, so I ended up with an extra one, but just tossed it anyways. But it doesn't really matter, as we now have another ring that can gain potentials. Was it really worth the trouble to get this ring? Not entirely sure. I know most people could totally skip this ring if they plan on using event rings, or they have the material to craft Meister rings, or can even trade carries for the slime ring. But since I'm solo progging and this is a relatively new account, I just don't have the resources for those rings, and I'd rather use my primal essences on my main than my mules right now. I'm also working on multiple mules, so any event rings will be pretty spread out between my characters. After putting the potential on the ring, I decided to go ahead and push it to 15 stars, but after failing a few times at 14, I decided it was too expensive for just a small stat gain, so I decided to just wait until Shining Star Force. And with all that said and done, we are now at 4.5 million combat power. So with all the events that were kind of coming to an end that week, I realized I had a bunch of EXP coupons left over from the Morningstar tab and a bunch of coins left from Dave the Diver. I thought I was going to be able to kind of save them for after the event, but apparently they expire when the event ends, so I'm going to try and use as much as we can before they disappear. I had enough coins in the Dave the Diver shop for 60 VIP boosters, which is kind of unfortunate since you can only use 10 a day. So I decided to split them between my main and also this Night Walker. I haven't been actively training my Night Walker, so I didn't upgrade its nodes that much after the initial 500, but since we are going to be using the VIP boosters these next 3 days, I decided to go ahead and take the nodes that I had stored up for my next boss mule and go ahead and use them to upgrade my holy symbol. It's definitely not the most efficient use of nodes for sure. To strictly level up holy symbol, normally you want to spread your nodes out pretty evenly, but I'm already able to clear the bosses that I need to at this point, and I don't necessarily need more damage from my skill nodes. especially since opening these nodes maxed out my boost nodes. Of course, I do plan to max out the rest of my nodes later on, but we're just going to prioritize symbol for now, which will help me stack my equipment fodder as well with the extra drop rate. And this is what my nodes look like afterwards. We were able to level up to 239 while using the boosters. And after using the 10 VIP boosters for the day alongside the runes, I decided to go ahead and leave my Night Walker in the sauna, since I had plans to help my mom with an event that she was hosting. And after about 8 hours or so, when I got back, my Night Walker had leveled up to 240, and out of curiosity, I went ahead and put all my stats into Maple Scouter to see what bosses it thought I could clear at this point. So Scouter showed I should be able to clear normal Lomien super easily. I'm not sure about a 3-minute clear based on what the Scouter says, but should be pretty quick. Most guides I see have the CP requirements placed higher for NLomien mules, so I wasn't ready to see such a high percent on Scouter. However, I was not completely shocked, as a lot of guides have Akechi mules at a higher CP than when I went in with both my Mihail and my Night Walker. So seeing those numbers, I decided to go into a practice mode on Lotus and do one burst to see how far it'd get me, and it was way faster than I was expecting. I was out of P1 in a little over a minute. So yeah, after seeing that sample, Lotus and Damien should be pretty manageable. I decided to not go and fight them yet, as it was Sunday and the weeklies for my arcane symbols were about to reset, and I haven't done them yet. I was hoping I could do less after leveling, but as a professional griefer, I forgot that 240 unlocks Celis, which doesn't lower the requirements for any of my arcane quests. GG bros. After realizing how dumb I was for not just doing my weeklies earlier, I decided to procrastinate even more, and I went ahead and did Monster Park and did my daily bosses and daily arcane quests. I guess I was still salty because after finishing my dailies, I decided to go ahead and do my Haven and Dark World Tree weeklies, since the Lotus and Damien clears would be on their way. And finally, after getting those quests done, I decided to go back and do my arcane weeklies. I absolutely hate vanishing journeys, so I'm glad it's only one. Sometimes I'll throw all my arcane selectors at the VJ symbol just to finish it faster and get rid of that weekly. Midnight Chaser, Muto, and Spirit Savior are kind of fun, but I still prefer not to have to do them more than once. I use a website for Midnight Chaser, since I'm too lazy to use my brain and just remember where all the pieces are. I'll throw a link to it down in the description if you want to go ahead and use it as well. Runheim and Espera are okay, but again, I've just done these weekly so many times, I'd rather try and keep them to a minimum. These pictures from Reddit are super helpful for Aspera to go ahead and hit all 10 orbs in one charge, but I'll still miss a bunch anyways. With my weeklies done, I went ahead and started training again to use the VIP boosters, which were about to expire, and was able to hit level 243. And then the next day, we were able to hit level 244 while doing Monster Park. I still did the Dave the Diver minigame a few times. I just thought it was fun and ended up with a bunch more tokens I needed to spend. So I decided to go ahead and buy all of these extreme growth potions and just throw them on my Night Walker. Normally you would use them on characters between, like, I think it's level 130 when you can use them to level 200. But my Legion was already done because of the Challenger World rewards, so that's why I decided to just throw them on my Night Walker. After finishing up some more training, we are now level 246, and it was time to go ahead and see how we do with Lotus and Damien. Part 1 here went pretty smoothly. One burst and the kind of remaining spear procs that I had. We were able to get out within about a minute, so light work to this point. In P2, was still trying to just get my bearings. I've only bossed on this character a few times, so I was trying to get used to playing my Night Walker again. I still absolutely love its backdash. I can't wait for the forward dash to come. It's gonna make this class absolutely insane. I used my bind preemptively here since my burst was still on cooldown, and I had Urdanova anyways for backup once my burst came back up. This was such a stupid up jump. Jumped from the safe area and got stuck on the wrong side of the wall here. But that's okay, lives are a resource, right? This here was just a great combo on Lotus's part with the kind of boost into the air and then the knockback into the laser. I see. I'm gonna consider that Lotus's mini burst. From here, I was definitely trying to play it a little more cautiously since I only had 3 lives left and we were still in P2. My burst came back up, but I really wanted to save it for P3 since I didn't want to be in there too long. So I decided to just keep going with my normal DPM until we could get out of P2. and we were able to escape P2 with 3 lives left still. So coming into P3, I did want to get Lotus over to the top left platform, which is the safe area for this fight. I went ahead and started putting down my burst. My class bind was up since I decided to just wait. And yeah, kind of went and bursted him away. One burst for half a life bar is pretty solid. This push into the laser, I definitely wasn't paying attention to, so that was a well-warranted death there. I decided to just wait out my timer because I only had 2 lives left, and I wanted to stay as safe as I could until my next burst was up. So I kind of abused the teleports here to just, chip away at him while maintaining my health. And he did it again. What a combo. What a combo. Oh man, down to 1 life, 37% left. My burst is about to be up here, so let's wait out the death timer. And here I kind of freaked out because I wasn't sure if the kind of lasers he was summoning were going to last to the point where I spawned, because if it did, I would die. Luckily, it wasn't that long, and I was able to spawn safely afterwards. I was just trying to bait him into this top left corner so that we could get this final burst off. Got my bind off. Here we are, finishing my burst and praying that nothing crazy happens. And oh my god, he almost pushed us into a laser with 0.7 left, but we were able to get the clear. This character doesn't have drop gear yet, but it did drop 2 cores, which is what we were looking for. Next up was the Damien fight, which I think is a lot easier than Lotus in terms of staying alive, but in terms of being able to damage this man, absolutely hate it. I can't wait for the changes to this boss to come. He spends just way too much time in the air, and the kind of orbs he summons in P2 are just not fun to deal with. But this run definitely wasn't too bad. Nothing too exciting that I recall happening during it, so we'll just kind of play it, and I'll come back if anything happens or we finish the fight. I obviously had a lot of time while he was sitting up in the air, um, since I had time to adjust my buff favorites and add Greater Dark Servant to it, so I could make sure I could see it while I'm bursting. And after about 5 minutes and a couple bursts, we were able to get him down to 30% and start P2. I missed having Dark Sight, so a few times you'll see me just go into Dark Sight and jump into all of his projectiles to go ahead and clear them. I also kind of get greedy here since I just kind of hate this part of the fight. So any deaths here are probably me being stupid because this part's really not hard other than kind of timing and positioning the orbs properly to get your damage off. Here I saw him go up into the air for his projectile attack, so I summoned my Greater Dark Servant down and lured the ball to the right. And once he was almost done with the attack, I jumped back down. I swapped places with my servant, but for some reason, when I bound, he teleported to the middle of the screen, which definitely threw off my whole burst. So here I am just kind of jumping around trying to get as much damage as I can off before my buffs run out. By the time Spear came off, I was able to get him down to like 7%, and I still had 20 minutes left, but this is a boss mule and I just want this fight to be over. So here I am absolutely greeting for damage. I definitely forgot to pay attention to my what are they, like my curse stacks, and ended up with 7, causing my first death. My second death here, I was definitely greeting for damage again and jumped into one of his meteors. I just want out of this fight at this point. You'll see me kind of attacking air here, but that's because my servant's next to him, and as I'm luring the balls away to the right, while I'm attacking, my servant is still attacking him, so you can see the health bar going down even though my actual character is attacking air. Once I got the balls again to the right side, I teleported to my servant and was able to finish him off. Unfortunately, because of the lack of drop gear, only 1 core dropped, but that's fine. We need a total of 7 from Damien, so as long as they drop 2 over the next 3 weeks or 3 over the next 2 weeks, we should be able to finish out the rest of my Abso gear. And with that being said, we have an NLomien Mule. I spent the next few days just farming familiars on my main to go ahead and unlock my mule's familiar slots. I farmed some that kind of took a while because there was so many pieces and the kind of maps were just kind of bad. Maybe had like 8 mobs in them. So it did take a while, but I wanted to make sure that when I farmed, they were badges that I was going to use anyways. So with my badges all unlocked, you can see all the additional stats we get from putting them on, and we'll be able to utilize those slots once I have more familiars to use. Anyways, that's a lot for one video. I thought progress was going to be a little slower, but we did get a lot done. From here, the next set of bosses that we'd be aiming for is Normal Slime and Easy Lucid and Easy Will. I definitely think it's going to take quite a jump to get where I can clear those pretty quickly. Scouter says I can clear them now, but I definitely don't want to be min clearing on a boss mule. So we're going to wait till we make some more upgrades. Just going to be kind of doing dailies on this character. I'm probably going to have to skip ahead a bunch since not much is going to happen every week from now. I think the next episode will probably have to happen after Shining Star Force. So yeah. Also at this point, we did get to the first leap of Challenger World. So I decided to go ahead and leap my characters over to Hyperion, where the rest of my characters are. That's it for now. I'll see y'all in the next one. Thanks again for watching. If you enjoyed the episode, please hit that like button and consider subscribing if you want to tag along for the journey, and let me know if there's anything else that you guys want to see. Y'all have a good one. Thank you so much again. Love y'all. Peace.